Stop pushing me. I don't want to talk about it.
I get that now. Just forget the wedding for a sec. Something else is clearly going on with you.
You wouldn't understand.
Maybe not. But I'll do anything I can to help.
It's the accident.
What about it?
I can't stop thinking about it. That day just keeps going round and round in my head. When I'm awake, when I try to sleep, I'm trapped again with the fire, and I can feel the heat. It just keeps going. Replays over and over, and it doesn't stop. It never stops.
We are Si and Sophie. This is Coastal News, a home and away podcast, your weekly episode companion podcast for your favourite Aussie soap.
Creator God, we thank you for the gift of life of this child who is to be baptized. May your blessing of peace and joy be with them and protect them all their days.
Have we got a name?
Celebrate the christening of this child. Christening Nabler's child here.
Yeah.
Ms.
Thompson. Miss Thompson. Miss Grometta.
How are you? Are you okay?
I'm good, thank you.
We promised a christening. I spent half the week getting ordained for this.
Did you do that? Did you do that online? Did you pay for it?
Yeah.
Have I now got to call you like Reverend Si?
Yeah. Oh, no, can you imagine? Do not Photoshop any pictures.
Oh, there's an idea. Oh dear.
Like the poster for a porno.
Oh dear.
No name. We said
No name.
we literally said on last week's podcast, are we going to go a week with no name for Gromit? We have. So we said we'd christen it ourselves. So what we're going to do, Baby Thompson, because when we come up with names for characters, they've stuck in the past.
Yes, this is true.
Have a think.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm well. Busy, like I say, getting ordained on fatherfatherspirit.com. How about you?
Oh, good, thank you. I'm definitely photoshopping you with the dog collar on later. Oh, that's my evening gone. There we go. Brilliant.
Funny times. There's quite a few we were talking last night on Home and Away about sort of a lot of plates spinning at once. And it's still a bit like that this week, although the action is a bit subdued. We've just been talking before we started the podcast about this week it felt sort of a bit subdued, didn't it, watching the episodes? But there is still, when we've sort of gone through and prepared, there is loads. Loads still happening concurrently. We're not we were got to talk about a lot at once, haven't we?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of little storylines going on, isn't there? Because I think the last 2 weeks that we've been talking about it on here, it's been mad, hasn't it? We've had obviously the wedding and the fallout of that, and the Tex heist and all of that. Everything's just been crazy, and the Jacob and Bree storyline. So for a few weeks it was just mad, wasn't it? And now I guess off the back of that, anything would feel a bit less exciting, I guess.
Yeah, we're on the come down, but I must say this week I have struggled a bit sometimes to get through it. I'm a bit like it's just not engaged me. But I think the whole I rolled my eyes, didn't I, when you were doing First Look last week, telling me that postnatal stuff was coming with Ziggy, and I was already not switched on to it before I started watching it. Do you know what I mean? So I have struggled. I must. However, if there's one thing I can do, is talk about Home and Away.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want your headlines?
I do.
The Gromit is home, but Mummy is struggling to cope. Remy and Bree get to talking again after his refusal for help leads to a house call. Eden calls a spade when discussing her memory / feelings for Cash. Felicity explodes at a party, telling Tani she doesn't want to get married. And could Marley be hiding something?
Please take the time to like, subscribe, and review Coastal News wherever you source your podcasts, and ensure you never miss an episode.
So Gromit is home. Even I'm calling it that too often now.
Grometta. We agreed last week because it's a girl, isn't it? We're going to Grometta. It's a bit more bearable for me.
Sounds about 101 already. Well, let me tell you, the size of that bambino, right?
Everyone's been saying this on the hashtag, and I get it. Like, everyone's been saying, "Oh, it's a 4-month-old baby" and everything. First of all, they're not allowed, insurance-wise, I don't think, to work with a newborn. And second of all, as if a newborn would be handed over to a TV show. Come on, guys. Go with it. You just have to Jenny it. It's just
yeah, but I'm looking at it thinking, I bet she tore from hole to hole.
Oh, she definitely did. Because even Karen said to Mr. Stewart, she pushed out a watermelon, and he was like, "Ew, ew."
That's enough.
Yeah.
Oh, Karen, Nana, new Nana coming through. She's had it
Grandma.
all said, hasn't she? I'm sure she wanted to be called Nana.
Oh, John's very brave calling her grandma, though, I think.
He was. And she's sort of calmed right down, hasn't she? I think John helped her during the birth at the hospital last week.
Yeah.
And she's cooking meatloaf. She's got the house ready. She's there. She's ready for beck and call whenever the new parents need it. And also in a way where she realizes she needs to give them space as well. And she sort of clears off the day, doesn't she, when they first come home, and leaves them to find their feet. Goes to the diner. She's filling Irene in with all the news. And that's when that watermelon conversation happened that you were talking about. Ziggy's looking like a rabbit in headlights, isn't she? Whether Karen's there or not, very nervous at this point. Can we use the monitors, when she's asleep in the next room?
Yeah.
Flapping about the baby not attaching and getting a feeding schedule. And Dean having to go out, and she's like, "No, where you going?" There was signs very early on, wasn't there, that Karen's presence there was needed more than initially thought.
Yeah, it's a good job she was there, really. I think it's a bit strange that she's decided to leave so early, actually, but we'll probably come on to that in a minute. But yeah, she's like super nana, wasn't she? I've got the nursery, all like the cot made up, I've got nappies, I've got the dinner in the oven, and then I'm just going to leave you to it. Like, I thought that was a really nice scene, actually. She wasn't overbearing. She can be a bit much, can she? I know we love her, but in that situation, whether you've come home with a newborn, you don't know what day of the week it is or who you are, I think that could have gone badly, but she played it really well, didn't she? And just been like
expected of her.
Yeah,
so, yeah. You're sort of thankful for her even more.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I would be in their shoes.
Yeah.
And then there's this weird moment, isn't there, where they're out at the beach on a walk, and she has to breastfeed in public. And Karen then sort of goes back to Karen mode when there's that snotty woman, getting breastfeeding, and I think this was less about Karen though, and more about sort of Ziggy being like, "I'm no good at this. I can't do this. Everybody else can settle her. With me, she's crying." And Karen's clocked it pretty early on, and she says to Dean, "I'm serious, Dean. You need to keep an eye on her." And I'm not sure whether Dean's breathing space is one thing, but Dean's not really. I don't think Dean's seen it. Do you know?
No.
I think he's thought, oh yeah, have a bath, have a cuppa.
Yeah. You're just tired.
Baby's cry. Yeah, you've just given
Yeah.
birth, but I don't think he's quite seen it.
Yeah.
He's not read between the lines, has he?
No, I suppose he's tired and his brain's not really, that focused either. So you can understand it, can't you? But he maybe, because he'll have spent all night waiting for her to give birth or whatever, and had sleepless nights and all that sort of stuff while the baby's there. So he's probably not thinking straight. But you're right. I don't think he's quite seeing that this is. I think it's looking like a baby blues storyline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than just a new mum just tired. I think there's something more serious going on.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see the whole picture, right? We've got this person who a baby wasn't in the plan.
No.
There was all these other plans. Surfing, was the dream. Actually, that was actually happening miraculously. And then this happened, and then there was a big. It wasn't a happy pregnancy on the whole.
No.
My perspective, anyway. I don't know what you thought.
No, well, we said it several times on the pod, didn't we? That she kept saying, "My life's over. My life as I know it is over. Everything I enjoy, I'm not going to be able to do anymore." It was very negative, the whole pregnancy, right up until, I don't know, the very end, when it looked like she'd kind of made a peace with it. But even then, I wasn't convinced. Were you?
No. Well, a pair of us were the same, weren't we? We were a bit deep down. I think she's kidding herself,
Yeah.
But nevertheless, she decided to embrace it. And you've touched on it multiple times, throughout these last few months, about their lack of preparedness as a result of all said drama about it, and now sort of it's happened. And I imagine, probably talking out of turn here as a bloke, right? But I imagine hormones just are just like mad right after birth, right?
Yeah, they will be.
Things just happened.
Yeah.
You're all to pot with everything, like massive life change on top of it. You've got the mother-in-law, meatloaf, like, oh my God, no wonder, and I'm thinking, I do sort of sympathize with the poor girl. This must be tough, and it must be tough for all new mums in this boat. This is what they go through,
I think it's really important that they've shown it as well, because I think a lot of soaps, they kind of gloss over this whole sort of storyline, bring baby home, happy families, and get on with it. And that's not always the case. That a lot of people do struggle to bond with the baby, or especially new mums. You've never done it before. Nobody's really taught you, and it's stuff that you have to learn as you go. This whole worrying about a schedule. Everybody gives you advice. Everybody says, "Oh, you should be doing this. You should sleep when the baby sleeps. You should feed her this often." And you listen to all of that because you think these people know what they're doing. And then when you can't sort of live up to that expectation, you probably do feel like a failure, don't you? So I can see this being really relevant for a lot of people, which I think is really good that they didn't just make it a happy ending. So they've had the baby and everything's great.
Yeah,
I think it's probably a good thing that they've highlighted it this way.
I completely agree. And even though I rolled my eyes last week, I'm glad now it's not just been sort of happy families, because we spoke about the fragility of the relationship before the pregnancy. I'm not saying that's the reason why she's not bonding, not taken to motherhood naturally, but Ziggy isn't a natural mother.
No, I wouldn't have picked, if you said to me this time last year someone's going to get pregnant, I wouldn't have picked her as my first.
No.
Would you?
Mechanic, surfer,
yeah,
like and she's made no secret. Like she's not one of these people that girls who've grown up wanting to be a mum from the minute dot, day dot.
Yeah.
That scene, where she comes out of the bedroom, because she's been going to the bedroom to secretly cry about it all, hasn't she? And just be on her own, be away from baby. Which I'm sure a lot of parents, when there's a crying newborn, try and seek that solace in any way you can. And there's that scene where she comes out for water. Do you know which one?
Yeah.
And
yes.
Karen and Dean are sort of saying, "Oh, give baby a cuddle. She needs a cuddle off her mum," and she's like, "No, I need to sleep. Like, no,
Yeah.
I can't do it. You're better at it than me. I failed."
Mm.
Just thinking, oh, my heart goes out to her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's probably something that's quite common and probably something that's not talked about that much because, people are probably embarrassed to admit that, they're going through something similar because they do feel like a failure. And especially nowadays with like social media, people posting things online that's like maybe 1 minute out of their day, happy family picture, and someone else has got a screaming baby that they're not feeling that, bonded with yet and feeling like a failure. I think it's really important to highlight that it's not always a walk in the park. It is difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not an Instagram
No.
moment.
No.
And then, sort of then it's sort of Dean, like we talk about Dean not really getting it. He's gone out and bought every breast pump he finds.
That boot looks very dodgy, didn't it? I was like, if he gets pulled over by the cops and they check his boot, they'll be like, "Are you into some kinky stuff?" Ooh.
Well, but then he's leaving her on her own, sort of knowing that this is all going on.
Yeah.
And then he's shocked to see and learn that when he gets home, she's not there. She's gone walkabout, hasn't she? She's
left the baby in the house.
It's mental health, isn't it? And I think she needs a little bit of support, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is why I wasn't sure, because obviously Karen's gone, hasn't she now? So when Dean went out to Yabby Creek to grab these breast pumps or whatever they were in his car, like he'd left her alone with the baby, hadn't he? And I thought that was not a great idea. Like you say, he's not thinking straight. He thinks it's just, she's tired, and now she's had a bath and a wash, and she says she's feeling a bit more human. He's like, okay, great, I'll go out.
Yeah.
So I was thinking this is probably not a great idea, but I also don't really understand why Karen's left, because Karen has noticed that Ziggy's struggling and has noticed that, she's not right, and told Dean that. But then in the next breath, she said, "Oh, I think it's better for me to go." And then, the reason Ziggy's struggling is because I'm here, and she's not bonding with her baby because, I'm doing all the work. And I just thought, I'm not sure I agree with that. I actually think that was a bad move for her to leave them when she realised that Ziggy was struggling. What did you think?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what I thought. I get exactly what you're saying. I sort of saw Karen's point when she said it. I thought, okay, a bit short-lived, but I sort of understand, me being in the way. I took it like Karen was sort of saying, if I'm here doing it, she'll never do it.
Yeah.
Type attitude. So, like, I've got to do this for her, to force her to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw that, but now you're saying that, I sort of agree as well. She knows it's not just the regular, I don't know what to do. She knows she's clocked something wrong.
Yeah.
She's told Dean to keep an eye. Dean can't keep an eye on her 24/7, as is evident the very next day when he goes pump shopping. Like, it doesn't take long after Karen's left for it to all go wrong. So I'm inclined to agree with you, even though I took what Karen was saying on face value at the time.
Yeah.
Agreeing with you now, you're explaining that because Karen knows it's more than just the regular.
Yeah, that was my take on it. You're right. I can see your point of view now. You've explained what you took from that scene as well. You're right. She was sort of stepping in all the time, wasn't she? When Ziggy was struggling, she'd say, "You have a break, you sit down, have a cup of tea, and I'll look after baby." And she can't do that forever, and I get that. She can't just, come in and take over and mother the child. Like, Ziggy needs to step up and needs to do it for herself. I just don't think mentally she's capable of that yet. Yeah. And I thought Karen had understood that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And let's face it, it was 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a long time, is it, actually?
No.
Babe, that isn't a long time, is it? You would have stayed a week or something.
And apparently, I don't know whether this is true, but I've heard from other people that are mums that the first few days are actually okay, because normally the baby's just asleep for the first few days, and then it starts to get harder. Then they start to get the sleepless nights and the crying. I don't know how true that is because I haven't had a baby, but I don't know whether Karen might have been there for the easy bit as well, which isn't good.
Well, Karen might be back. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
She might be summoned back because obviously Ziggy's now AWOL. Like Dean's probably going to go out of his mind. This will probably put the willies up Dean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scare him absolutely senseless.
Because even John and Irene have twigged, haven't they? They were having that conversation when they were closing the diner, and John was helping her like put the chairs away and everything. And he said something like, Karen's really worried about Ziggy, she thinks there's something not quite right there. And even Irene said, yeah, I clocked something. So everybody else is noticing it. But Dean, clearly oblivious.
The thing with Dean is he's a bit of like a, just get on with it type.
Yeah.
Isn't it? He's not very in touch with the feelings, if you like.
No. Yeah.
So, but I'm sure he'll come good. He normally does. Does, doesn't he?
He doesn't overthink things, does he? He doesn't sit and worry about stuff and overthink everything. He's just like, right, baby's crying, pick her up. Whereas Ziggy would be like, why is the baby crying? What does she need? That kind of.
Yeah.
He's not going to be questioning if he's a good dad. He's just going to be like, right, the baby's crying, pick it up.
Yeah, and the baby's probably picking up on all that worry.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Well, somebody else worrying. Eden, she's got a text off Cash at the hospital while she's chatting away with Brie about all things Cash. He's on his way over. He's bringing her favourite food. He's thinking he's going to try again, isn't he, with that conversation? And Eden's there. She's telling Brie, what if I can't give him what he wants? They're on completely different pages, these two. Okay.
Yeah, and they have been since the beginning, haven't they?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Because at the beginning he liked her, she didn't like him. Then she liked him, he didn't like her. And now we're back to he likes her, she doesn't like him. It's like, oh, for God's sake, why? Yeah, it's like the third iteration of this storyline, isn't it? Keeps flipping around.
I think she was right to just turn around and say to him, "No, look, I may never remember, so you need to tell me. You need to tell me everything that we've done." And he does. To be fair, to he sort of lays it all out, doesn't he? This whole we've declared everything, and she's just turfs him out basically. I need you to leave. You can't be here. I don't think I can give you what you need from me. And she says you need to stop visiting me.
Yeah.
And given all this, dilly-dallying with all this now, do we think Cash is gonna stick around with it? Do you think he's gonna persevere and try and win her over? To me, he's just sort of rocking up and going like, why don't you remember? I've now decided that I'm gonna feel for you too.
Yeah.
Like, listen to me. What you said it first, so let's just carry on. And it's a bit like, Cash, clearly that's not happening. So I'm literally sitting like, so why don't you try and just woo her again? Do you know what I mean? And try and make her feel those things again naturally. You just turn it all the time, stressing her out. Of course, she doesn't want you there.
No, exactly. Oh, you're right. And he even said something like, she said, I can't remember how she phrased it, but she's like, I can't give you what you need. I don't know whether I'm ever going to be able to. I don't want you hanging around. And he just said, well, I'll literally wait as long as it takes. And I was like, that's probably not going to help. That's really the worst thing you can say. Oh, I'm just going to hang around. I'm just going to keep waiting. No, I've told you not to. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, even if you thought that, don't say it. Don't tell her.
The best thing you could probably do is bring some of those music mags over again.
Bore her to death.
Take her to the vending machine on a date. And just try and be a friend for her and let it happen naturally.
Yeah.
Because those feelings are there. You've just got to believe that they'll come out, and believe that she'll listen to them eventually. Do you know what I mean? She remembers.
I think I'd give her some space because I don't know. Maybe if he isn't there every day, she might notice he's not there. She might miss him, and then enjoy hanging out with him when she does see him. I think I'd probably give her a bit of space, but he's not going to do that.
No, he's not. I just don't like the way he's going about it. He's just turn up and being like, "Remember, Jet?
Yeah, do you love me yet? Do you love me?
I love you again, and I'm really sorry that I treated you bad because I told you I didn't, but I do."
Oh, I want to hear what he actually told her. You know, he said he told her everything, even the stuff that was like, not so good, like how he treated her badly and stuff. Did he tell her that she got absolutely rat-arsed on the Hindu and fell off the stage on her face? Did he tell her that? Because no wonder she told him to like leave, because that nobody wants to hear what they did when they were drunk the night before, do they?
True. That's very true. Yeah.
Oh, especially when she can't remember it.
Maybe it was just that. Yeah.
You've always got that one friend that remembers everything and wants to tell you what you did, and you're like, just shut up.
No, rack off.
Oh dear. Maybe it's just that, just embarrassment, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
Here's hoping, because I can't take any more of it. Marley's getting chummy with Xander, isn't he?
Yes.
Going together and all that stuff.
Well, he's teaching him, isn't he? He's teaching him his surf lessons because Dean's no longer available, I guess. Yeah.
And obviously, clocks rose down at the beach.
Oh, that was awkward. Did you think that? I thought that was so weird. He was like,
yeah, it's my sister. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and then I don't know. This is just me, but isn't there some kind of bro code where you don't ask out your mate's sister or whatever? And he's just like, "Oh, your sister. Oh, introduce me." I was like, "Dude, like this." And he's got sisters. He said he'd got like a bunch of sisters, didn't he? How would he feel if some random guy was like, "Oh, hook me up with your sister"?
If you said to me, Sophie, "Oh, can I ask your brother out? He's well fit," I'd be like, "Fuck off."
Exactly. Is your brother well fit? Anyway.
Like, I'd be like, absolutely not.
It's one of them things. It's like an unspoken rule, isn't it? That's how I've always viewed it. There's no way my brother would let any of his mates go out with me. Definitely not.
Things get a bit murky when friends go out with siblings and fall out.
Yeah.
And do you even want to go down that? It's going to happen in somewhere like Summer Bay, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, he does ask her out at the juice bar, doesn't he? And honestly, I put my hood up. I pulled tight on the.
He didn't even ask her what her name was. Like, as far as she was concerned, he was just some random bloke. Wasn't like he just went over and went, "You, me, dinner," and I was like, "Are you going to say hi? My name's Marley. Are you Rose? Nice to meet you." None of that.
Oh God, I'm honestly just talking about it's making me feel cringe. Oh.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone up to someone and gone, "You, me, dinner"?
No, I don't have that.
No, me neither. It clearly worked though. Wow. She said yes, didn't she? So.
Yeah, but do you see what he turned up wearing to the date? Come on.
Was it Dino's t-shirt or something? I have no idea. Yeah, he did say though he wasn't expecting to stay over because I think his plan was to drive back, and Mr. Stewart gave him a van, didn't he, at the last minute?
I wouldn't blame you if you bail, but I wish you wouldn't. That was his line, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it works, doesn't it? He walks her home after a nice meal in Salt. There's a night. Everything looks good until the next day, and he's in a uniform, and his face drops. This is it.
How did that not come up at dinner? Because when we saw a bit of the dinner, didn't we? We saw them talking, and he talked about his family. He talked about how he knew Dean. He was talking about the board shop and how he shapes boards and everything else. So he talked all about his career. She talked about Xander, hadn't she? They did families. Why did that not ever come up during the date? And what do you do for a living? Does he just sit there and talk about himself for like the whole time?
That. Yeah, it must do. It must do, because you're right. It would come up on that kind of date, wouldn't it? I could get on board with that more if it was like a hookup where you don't talk about nothing. Fair enough, right? No, you're not going to tell to say what. But yeah, you're right. With the type of conversation we saw, they definitely would have talked about work and stuff. You do, don't you?
Yeah, he definitely did. He definitely was telling her all about his board shaping and the fact that he's taken on the surf lessons from Dean, and that's how it moved on to her brother, because he was saying, I'm teaching Xander, I could teach you. And he's talking about his family. They talked about the fact that they both lost their dads. I was thinking, so he never asked her, what do you do for a living, or what do you like to do? I just find that really strange, but there we go.
Me too. But this means Marley's not as sweet, bush-tailed as we thought, because now we're doubting his niceness. And I'm starting to get, my Clouseau, Inspector Clouseau on here, because, he won't give his papers to Alf. His employment papers, remember?
Yeah.
Now he doesn't like cops, and when she confronts him about it, like, is this a problem? I can't believe you're not giving me. Which actually I found a bit pathetic. It was like she was begging him. I was like, you just met the guy. If he doesn't like that you're a cop, that's a red flag, love. I felt like she was.
Before that, it took him ages to actually say what the problem was, and I thought he was really horrible to her. Because she came down to see him when he was on the beach doing the surf lesson, and he just didn't say 2 words. So did he? He just kept saying, "I'm busy. Oh, do you want to go for lunch? No, I can't." I thought that was so rude. I was really annoyed about that because because we were saying, weren't we, the other week before, like, he's fitting in really well. He seems like a really nice guy, too nice,
Yeah.
But that was so rude. Like, he didn't even tell her. Like, I think they bumped into each other twice before he actually said, "It's because you're a cop." And the 2 times that they met up, he was just super rude to her. And I thought, there's no need for that. He could have just told her that first, meeting. You could have told me you were a cop. I didn't know you were a cop. I'm going to have to go away and think about this because it's a problem for me. He could have just told her that from the off, but he had to drag it out and be an arsehole all day. I was like, why?
Yeah, definitely saw a different side to him, didn't we, that day? You're right.
Yeah. Didn't like that.
He was really nice, and we were thinking, this guy's really nice, quite likable. What's not to love? Last week, weren't we?
Yeah.
Something's off here. So his family, is he from a rough family again?
Well, he said something about
the new Mangrove River.
Well, I didn't get the impression that it was, because obviously when he was talking to Alf, he was saying we're from Manta Ray Point. It's just a little fishing place. I'm not a river boy, blah blah. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on this.
Conversation with Alf was all family. My granddad fishes. We love sisters. Blah blah blah. Yeah,
it's not the impression I got that Manta Ray Point or wherever he's from is this like criminal town. But what he said to Rose was the reason he's got a problem with the police is because he can't trust them. So I don't know whether I'm completely off the mark here, and maybe this is offensive in itself, but is it a race thing? Do the cops pick on him because he's Aboriginal, or I don't know.
Well, I suppose that's the point, is we don't know, aren't we? So
yeah,
it's now we're thinking, right, what's up here, and trying to guess, trying to fill in the gaps until we know.
Yeah.
It's definitely something. Cops are bad news for him, and that's never good news for us.
Yeah.
Is it really? I'm now a bit like, is he part of a criminal thing? Is his family in trouble? Why does he not like the police? Has he been the victim of something, like you say? Is it that, or is it else? I mean, the possibilities at this point could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah.
But it was Rose's reaction as well for me that was just as odd. And it was like, well, you're not going to give me a chance, and please give me a chance, and just one more day, and I'm thinking, Rose, the guy doesn't want to see you anymore because you're a cop. That surely rings some little bell up there.
Yeah.
Tell you that this is not good news, and I'd be straight back to the YCPD office, and I'd be putting his name into the computer, love.
Yeah.
I'd be doing.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. And you know what's funny? That barbecue that they had, and he was standing next to Cash, and I thought, he's being all matey with Cash. There's no Cash as a cop, and would that change that conversation if he knew that Cash was?
Oh yeah.
Is it just the fact that she's a woman and a cop?
Oh my gosh, you've just added another layer now. Yeah, he was.
I don't know. Did he know that Cash was a copper or not? I don't know whether he did. Because he was standing there next to the barbecue having a nice little chat with him. Then Rose turned up and Cash called her over, didn't he? And was like, "Oh, this is Marley." And she was like, "Yeah, I know." So I was thinking, well, has Marley not got a problem with Cash because he doesn't know he's a cop? Or is it something else? I don't know. I'm confused at the moment.
Could be anything.
I know. They should have explained it. I mean, the fact that they don't trust the police, there wasn't really enough information for me to work out what the actual issue was.
No,
but are we skirting over it now? Because it seemed like they were, because after that they were dancing, weren't they? And just getting on with things. And I thought, is that it? Are we over it? don't know.
I don't think it's going to be plain sailing as that.
Mm.
We've been here before, haven't we? Bad boy falls in love with the cop.
Yeah. Is he a bad boy? I don't know. I'm not convinced. I don't know. I don't know what
He's
it is.
got tattoos. I'm honestly, I'm questioning absolutely everything now. I don't think he's called Marley. I think he's from this place that he's saying he's from. I'm questioning everything.
We've been here before, haven't we? We don't trust anybody. Like, he doesn't trust cops. We don't trust newbies. That's the problem.
Because we loved him last week. What fresh air not to have a secret. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we don't believe a word he's saying. That to me is just super sus. This barbecue you're talking about as well, we might as well talk about it. So it's the impromptu party, isn't it? Come barbecue at Casa Parata's.
Yeah. This is very odd, wasn't it? Because we had this just before we had the party. We had this really nice scene in Casa Parata, and it was Flick and Cash, and they were actually talking. They were actually opening up and saying, what was on their mind and how they were feeling. And Flick was saying to Cash, Tane wants to set another date for the wedding. I just don't think I'm ready. Freaking out about that. And Cash was like, well, I've been to see Eden. I've told her everything that happened between us, and she told me to rack off. So they're both like, they've hit bottom, haven't they? They've hit rock bottom. And I thought, this is good. They're talking, and now they can help each other through these problems. And then within a minute, Flick just went, party. Let's have a party. And I was thinking, really? I don't know about you, but when I'm going through something in my personal life, and I'm sharing that with my friend or my brother or whoever, and they're saying, oh yeah, I'm also going through stuff as well, I don't think we ever sort of went, let's have a barbecue. I didn't quite see how we got there from that. Did you? Or have I just missed this completely?
No, it was a very great leap.
I was like, okay.
I think it's a massive distraction.
Yeah.
Technique from Flick there. I think because everyone's coming at her, and I think she's starting to realise that people are noticing. Tane, remember Tane's just asked her. Yeah. To set the date again to try for the wedding, because obviously the wedding went Pete Tong, didn't it? He's just before this happened asked her to set the date again, and she don't think I'm ready. And I think this is her sort of trying to distract everybody from realizing what she's up to. It's an excuse for her to get absolutely plottoed.
Yeah, because we've seen her drinking in the store cupboards, in the bathroom, behind the bins, haven't we? We've seen her drink. I don't know how Tane hasn't noticed. She's drinking vodka out of the bottle, and then he's kissing her 5 minutes later. I was like, she's going to stink. How does he not notice?
I know. I must say I thought the same. I was like, no, I would like to think I would know if my significant other was absolutely arseholed.
You'd know. They would absolutely stink. I mean, she's not drinking something that doesn't smell on your breath. It's gonna, even if you say it's mouthwash, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, but you see, you've also got to think Tane's been a bit preoccupied saving Cash's life.
That's true. Yeah.
He's taken the eye off the ball a bit with Flick since she's come out of hospital. I think he's been back at work. Stacey's thrown the towel in, hasn't she?
Yeah.
He's been left in the lurch at work. He impromptu saved Cash's life when he saw him being bundled. So I think he's taken the eye off the ball with Flick a bit. And the other week when we sort of was reading what was going to happen in one of the first look episodes, and our first reaction was, poor Tane's going to have to deal with this. And we read about having to. And it's so true. He's basically her keeper. He's constantly having to look after her. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some relationships are like that, and fair enough. That's the way that dynamic works. But this poor guy's got the world on his shoulders from all angles, with everybody.
Yeah. It must be exhausting going out with Flick, to be honest. I don't think he gets a lot back. I think he's there for her, isn't he? He offers her shoulder to cry on and lets her just go wild and supports her with everything that she does. And I don't think there's a lot of take from Flick. I don't think there's a lot of give.
No, absolutely. I mean, why can't she turn around and say, I'm struggling? It
Yeah.
takes her
Mm.
publicly to go absolutely ballistic at him in front of everybody
Mm.
to say, I do not want to marry you.
Yeah.
Drunk, explosive argument. It takes that to happen for her to open up to him and say, afterwards, and he says to her, there's something going on, there's something else going on with you.
Yeah, even then he was really nice about it, wasn't he? Like you say,
Yeah.
he's just humiliated him in front of everybody and said, "Oh, maybe I don't even want to marry you anyway," and stormed off inside the house after making a scene. He comes in, with the tail between his legs, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Pandering to her again, and then and then he's like, "Look, I can, forget the wedding, take that off, take the pressure off. What else is going on with you?" Like he's being really reasonable. He's not starting an argument or retaliating or.
I think he knows how to handle her.
He does, yeah.
The rest of us will just be like, who do you think you're talking to, right? You know what I mean? But I think he knows that won't wash with her, will it? You know what I mean? She'll just react.
She'll have a tantrum, yeah.
Yeah, I think he knows, doesn't he? And he's got the patience of an absolute saint. She does not deserve him, and like you say, he gives a lot for not so much in return, as far as we can see,
Yeah.
It takes all that to happen for her to say, I'm struggling here, every minute I close my eyes, I'm back in that car with the heat, fire, and I'm trapped, and that's all very legitimate, and absolutely, it's post-traumatic stress, isn't it? It's it's mental mental health from this massive thing you've just gone through. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Open up. Of all people you should feel you should be able to open up to, it's time. Why can she not do it?
I know.
It's so frustrating.
It's not like Tane wouldn't have gone through stuff. I mean, he wasn't in the crash or anything, but he got there and saw her trapped in the car, saw Eden unconscious, saw Leah impaled, and saw the car burst into flames with Flick inside. He's not had a nice day out either. It's not.
That was the day he was supposed to get bloody married.
I know. And then a week later, he nearly saw his brother-in-law get shot in the head. So he's not exactly having the best time either himself, but he's still managing to go to work and hold everything together. And all he wants is just to be with Flick, and he just comes home and there's a house full of strangers all getting drunk and she's taking her clothes off to jump in the pool. I just feel so bad for him.
I do. Some of the dancing from those extras.
Oh God. From the extras? What about Nico? Oh dear, busted a move.
Well, while all this is going on, you see Gabe's down the road at Salt.
Don't even.
Oh,
I can't stand this guy. Sorry.
He's got his thumb in the books now. Look,
thumb in the book, nose and everything, hasn't he? Him.
And he's lecturing Mac about Flick. About how she's not their absent business partner, and Flick and Mac's a bit like, she's going through some stuff. It's her personal stuff. I'm not going to tell you. And I thought, yeah, go on, absolutely. But but at the same breath, not really defending her too strongly either. You know what I mean? Like,
I got the feeling she was embarrassed, didn't you? I got the feeling that Mac was kind of embarrassed by Flick because. The first time Gabe met Flick, she turned up and she was grabbing all that booze and she looked completely wired, didn't she? She was like, Paddy at mine, who's he? And I was thinking, she's being really extra and over the top here. And you could tell Mac was like, that's Felicity. That's my business partner. She looked kind of embarrassed, didn't she, that she had to admit that to him?
Yeah.
And then when John was saying, later on, John was saying, the party was a disaster. Flick's a liability. She got really drunk. She, kicked off. She's unpredictable. And she was like, yeah, but she's not like that at work. Again, it was like this cringe, that I could feel coming off her because she didn't want Gabe to hear that. I don't think she could stick up for her because I think she was genuinely embarrassed by it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. She was like through gritted teeth, wasn't she? Like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, like she's my friend. She's been through a lot, but she's not helping me. You know, in terms of this Gabe guy, he's just got all the answers and knows everything or whatever, isn't he? So it's just it was bad timing, and I think she just like, oh, I didn't need this.
And I'm not sure why she's giving him the books to do. It's nothing to do with him.
I don't know why she's giving him the time of day at all. Like, I just don't understand this story at all. I'd have kicked him to the curb. But apparently they're back together and he's all over her business.
Well, you know my theory. You know, she's now shown him access to the book, so now he knows what kind of money's involved.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's much money involved, does it?
We know that.
Oh,
We know
dear.
that. But like, I don't know. He's got too much access to business stuff for me, and I think it's a bit too convenient. I said to you, he wanted his hands on the business from the minute he's arrived back, and I think, I don't know, he could start causing trouble with suppliers now. You know, how nation has he taken? You know, has he got access to the accounts? Has he? We don't know what he's done now, do we? You know, and I'm very, very worried for Mac here, because I think she's been a little naive.
Yes.
You know, she said it herself, I'm not the same person I was, because there was a great scene where he sort of storms out, doesn't he? She goes after him. She's told him to leave it. And she says, you know, I built this on my own. You know, I don't need you anymore. And I think this is another example of Mac saying that. I'm a strong woman. Yet, seconds later, panders to a bloke.
I know. I just don't get it. Why is she taking advice from a guy who seemingly started his own career using money that he took as a bribe from her dad?
Yes.
I mean, come on. I wouldn't be taking business advice from this guy.
Exactly.
He says he's doing well with these restaurants that he's got, but he's not going home to them, so he's leaving them to just run themselves. I'm just finding it all dodgy.
Him being here in Summer Bay means he's the absent business partner that he's slagging off for being.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If this whole business thing is true, and he has really got these restaurants that are very successful, I'm just not buying it.
No, I'm not. He's after something. Telling you.
He's only successful because he's took that money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's Mac that's made him successful, really, if you think about it. Because if it weren't for her and it weren't for her dad, he wouldn't have even had any money to go off and do this stuff. So
wouldn't see in the light of day. You're spot on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm really annoyed about this story. The same as you, because I'm like, I know Mac can be a strong, independent woman. I know she can do that, and I like that side of her. But I don't like it when she brings the walls down, and you know, like you say, panders to these guys that we just know are losers.
She does it time and time again, doesn't she?
Yeah.
One of her big character, you know, what's the word? One of the really poor character traits of hers. You know, she just seems to make such bad decisions when it comes to fellas. You know. One thing he does sort of make, and it is still her idea, but he makes her realise that actually you don't need members of Lyric to have a band night.
Hello, we've been saying that for weeks.
You definitely did. You were like, why don't they just sing?
Yeah, why don't just do it themselves? They could do covers. They don't even have to do lyric songs. They could just be a cover band. People go to the pub to see them all the time, don't they?
Yeah. Or they could just do it as themselves for a bit. Like, I don't understand. Like, Justin and Theo say just stand on the balcony. It doesn't go down too well, though, does it? It doesn't go down well at all, actually, when Justin floats the idea. You know, I think, you know, like when Mac tells Justin, Theo's a star, not a waitress. I think that's the start.
Sorry.
I think that's the type of stuff
kids
hear sometimes, don't you?
Definitely.
Remy's having none of it. I think Eden will be a bit more, placid about it. You know, she's not going to be performing anytime soon. We don't know yet. News hasn't yet reached Northern Districts, but Remy's not happy at all.
No.
Over my
Yeah. No, I didn't really get the full extreme of why he was so unhappy, but
She's seen my tweet in the week. I vote we amputate. So I've had
extreme. Yeah.
enough. Just get that arm off. God's sake. Louis featuring prosthetics.
Oh dear.
A couple of sort of non-event things we must mention, right, before we go, because we're covering everything rapidly here. Luke, VJ's text.
I'm sorry. Yeah. This made me laugh. This whole scene. Imagine the diner going, "Oh yes, Luke's birthday next week," and then she's like, "Are you going to go to Cyprus?" And she's like, "I can't just run off to Cyprus." And Irene's just like, "Well, you have before, doll." I was like, "Yes, Irene. She has just literally. Sometimes she's been in Cyprus before we even know she's left. Like she was in the scene yesterday, and then today it's like, "Where's Leah?" "Oh, she's in Cyprus." What?
Yeah. I mean, Irene can't really talk. We don't know where she mysteriously disappeared to the other week.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a funny line. And now Leah wants to go to Cyprus and catch up with who, if I remember rightly, and correct me if I'm wrong, ran off to Cyprus away from law enforcement.
Yeah, I think they're running away from the police. I can't exactly remember why now.
Now he's texting and they're visiting, and that's all okay.
Yeah.
You two shoes, Leah.
And also, she's literally just been impaled, and I'm sorry.
Let's do a long go.
Yeah, let's fly to Greece. Or Cyprus, isn't it? God, yeah, mad.
Don't get out Greek, Cypriot, and speaking of law enforcement, Brie also got some good news. I mean, this is like a proper brush over moment of the week that was like quite big news really. But the DPP are not charging her. All dropped. There you go.
Yeah, that was a very throwaway scene, wasn't it? It was just Rose, just not even at the police station, just in their house. Well, she's moved in with Rose, hasn't she, temporarily? And Rose was just like, "Oh, I've got something to tell you. Sit down. You're not going to be charged. They think it's self-defense, and that's it. It's over." I was like, oh, "Okay."
Yeah.
Bit of a damp squib, that wasn't it?
Yeah. Tea or coffee?
Yeah. Very odd.
It was a very, very, very odd end to what was months of investment, weeks.
Yeah.
Really odd. We saw it coming though, didn't we?
We did.
Well, joked. I hoped it would be different, but we did joke. They would go.
Oh dear. Funny. Well, yeah, we were expecting it, so we can't be disappointed, really, can we? So.
No.
Okay, now it's time for Your Say on the Bay, which is our new fave segment at the end of the main podcast, where we discuss all your opinions on the latest drama going on in Summer Bay. And you can get involved in this by tweeting on the Home and Away hashtag on Twitter, or by sending us your thoughts by DM or by email. So we're on Instagram and Twitter at Coastal News Pod, and our email address is coastalnewspod@gmail.com. And we love hearing from you and chatting about all things home and away. So do get in touch. And don't be shy. So we've had a few tweets this week, haven't we? We were saying the last couple of weeks on Your Say on the Bay that we've had loads of people talking on the hashtag recently because of the fallout of the wedding drama, the bikey heist, and everything that's been going on. So we've had a really mad couple of weeks with messages, haven't we? But I think this week has been a bit quieter, which has probably reflected the quieter week that we've had in the Bay as well. Do you think?
I would imagine so. Yeah. Things have sort of, the pace has come down a bit, hasn't it? So
yes, yeah.
It's everyone's excitement.
yeah. But we have had some people get in touch with, haven't we, on the Twitter? I think it was it Mr. David?
Yes. Hi, David. Thank you.
David.
For your continued support. Thanks for listening. So, Mr. David _885. Now, this is a common theme, which is why we're picking this out. But we were talking about. Obviously, this week we've had Tani and Felicity and their fallout. We've just been talking about on the podcast this week, and how Tane is all, he's too good for Felicity, some of us feel. And David feels the same. So he says he rescued her out of a burning car and saved her brother from certain death recently. What is she hesitating for, silly flick? And this is, the whole wedding thing, because she puts this wedding off at every opportunity, doesn't she? So thanks for that tweet, David.
Yeah.
And somebody else also sort of sent us an email, coastalnewspod@gmail.com, saying, honestly, Tane is just too good for her. If I'm honest, I wouldn't even bother. And we agree, don't we? And many, many, many do.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with this pair. I don't know whether we're going to get a happy ending or not at this rate, really. Yeah. What do we think?
I've been a fan of them as a coupling anyway. Only couldn't have Tane and Mac. I mean, Tane and Mac would have been absolute.
Ooh, hot couple, yeah.
Yeah, that just did something to me. But so only because we couldn't have them. I think they're well suited. I think the fact we've just been talking about, how he knows how to handle her. He doesn't pander to her behavior, if you like. And I'm making her sound like a right devil now. And it's not like that, is it? But she has a very flick ways about things.
Yeah.
And I think he sort of balances that really well. But I do agree with David's comments about, I think actually this was in reply to a tweet that we'd put out about it. He is just take and take and take, isn't it, from her when it comes to him. You've just said it. He doesn't really get back from it. We've just called him her keeper.
Yeah.
He's constantly putting out fires for her.
Literally.
Literally. Honestly, people would kill and walk over hot coals for him, for a guy like that, who would do all that for him. Why can she not appreciate what is right in front of her face? It is infuriating, Sophie.
It is, yeah. I mean, I'm not even 100% convinced that I want a wedding. If she decides that she doesn't want to get married, I wouldn't be completely mad about that. And I think that's within her right to say to him, do you know what? I got caught up in the whole wedding thing, and actually, it wasn't what I wanted. And can we have a chat about that? And can we have a chat about the future? Like, just talk to the guy. Just tell him how you feel. I think even then, because he is so reasonable, I think even then he'd probably just been like, okay, let's take our time. Let's put it on the back burner for now. I just don't think. What does he get out of this relationship? What's he?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to ask himself that, to think what, other than obviously he obviously feels things for her, but what else is he getting from it? She doesn't want to move in with him. Then he does. She doesn't want to marry him. Then he eventually does. I mean, the next thing is going to be, do they want kids? And they eventually will. Everything just is such a battle. Yeah. See that you're exhausting watching.
Yeah, he must be absolutely exhausted just being her boyfriend and just breathing and just living in that house. I can't imagine living with that drama all the time. It's too much.
Got me thinking this. Have you got any other examples of couples like this where it's worked? Do you know what I mean? Like either real life or TV couple. I'm trying to think of sort of other.
Where one's a nightmare and the other one's constantly pandering to them, you mean?
Yeah, like it's not selfish, is it? But it's like indirectly selfish attention. She's
very self-absorbed, isn't she? And she's very much like, oh, everything's about me and how I feel. And, she doesn't talk. She's a bit of a child. Like, she doesn't actually talk about her feelings. She just, hides behind the vodka or throws a party or does something wild. And it's like, and then every time he's like an adult, isn't he? He's like, can we talk? And she's like, oh god, no, boring. It's like having a toddler. It must be exhausting.
And I really want it to work. I really do, and that's unusual for me. This, like, oh, split up, rack off, blah, blah, blah. But I actually want, I just want, because I think I want Tane to be happy because Tane wants it,
Yeah.
Oh my God, on top of all that, on top of what a nice bloke he is, that's what he looks like. I mean,
yeah,
she needs her head tested.
Oh dear, yeah.
No other examples I can think of where it's worked. So I'm sort of thinking, do we fizzle watch these two?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where we're going to go from here, because is she just going to do a flick and just change her mind overnight and say, actually, I do want to get married, and I do want kids, or whatever it is that. I don't know. I can't see a way back from this now. She's literally screamed in his face, maybe I don't want to get married, and that's. How do you come back from that? I don't know.
I think you might know that she doesn't mean it. Or she's putting her head in the sand. She's turned to the bottle, rather than. And I don't know, if I was Tanya, I'd probably do things a bit differently, and I'd be thinking, if she doesn't feel like she can talk to me, she doesn't feel, what is this?
Yeah.
Of all people. When you're in a committed relationship like that, the one person you should be able to talk to about stuff, is your better half, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would have thought, unless it's about them.
Yeah, very strange. I'm just trying to think if there's any other, like you say, like other soap couples where they've got together and it's kind of been like, really, those two?
Like Kat and Alfie Moon.
Yeah, that's quite a toxic.
Very sort of off the
rails. Yeah.
Yeah, they're sort of not good for each other, but I know they're not together nowadays, but not sort of for each other, but like kept flogging the horse. Do you know what I mean?
I couldn't stand them as a couple. I know everybody ships them because I know the hashtag was mad when they didn't get back together again recently. When he came back, and he was trying to get her away from Phil, wasn't he? And everyone was going, oh, they should be together, they're made for each other. And I was like, no, they're not, they're toxic together. I absolutely cannot stand Kat and Alfie together. I think they're awful. I think she's just this screaming, just oh god, over the top drama.
A bit like Flick can be.
Yeah, and then he really winds me up, like this sort of chancer scammer. Oh, I don't know. I don't like Alfie. I know that's really unpopular because I know people love him and I think he's great, but I can't stand that guy.
But it's a prime example. Just long term, I don't know whether.
Yeah.
Soap anyway, so long term's never guaranteed. But
no,
it can't really. Yeah, that happily ever after we're looking for out of this big couple in the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we could be on the cards for a separation or a breakup, or maybe even a temporary separation or breakup, while she goes off the rails and he just tries to hold the fort with everything else going on. I don't know.
I'm worried about it. I mean, I'm not anything away from what she's going through, right?
Yeah.
But it just seems to be that everybody around Felicity, it becomes a problem for them.
Thank you for listening. We will be back with more episode discussion from Summer Bay soon. Until then, join the discussion online at Coastal News Pod.